Hello, spiritual gangsters, and welcome back to another episode of the Spiritual Gangster Podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Pieraldi, and today we're having a conversation that might ruffle a few feathers in the best way possible. We're talking about success. Not the shiny Instagram version, not the hustle until you drop version, not the prove them wrong version. We're talking about redefining success on your own terms. Because somewhere along the way, most of us adopted a definition that was handed to us. It came from teachers, parents, corporate ladders, social media feeds, even well-meaning friends. Success looked like promotions, a certain number in your bank account, a relationship that photographs well, a house that signals, I've made it, being busy enough to feel important. And here's the thing, none of those things are inherently wrong. But they become dangerous when they aren't actually yours. There's nothing more exhausting than chasing a finish line you never consciously chose. I want you to think about that for a second. How many of your goals are truly yours? And how many were absorbed by osmosis? We don't talk about that enough. Because redefining success requires something uncomfortable. Honesty. And honesty can feel like a breakup. You might realize that the life you thought you wanted doesn't actually fit anymore. And that realization, that's not failure, that's growth. I used to think success meant constant productivity. If I wasn't producing something, content, results, proof, I felt behind. I felt like I was wasting potential. I measured my worth by output. And here's what I've learned the hard way. Burnout is not a badge of honor. Exhaustion is not proof of ambition, and being overwhelmed is not the same thing as being successful. Sometimes success is quieter. Sometimes it looks like saying no. Sometimes it looks like choosing peace over applause. Sometimes it looks like walking away from something that looks impressive but feels heavy. And if you've ever walked away from something shiny because it cost you your nervous system, I see you. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. We live in a culture that monetizes comparison. Every scroll shows someone's highlight reel, someone's milestone, someone's announcement. And it's subtle, but your brain starts keeping score. You start thinking, am I behind? Should I be farther? Why isn't my life moving that fast? But here's a radical idea. What if you're not behind? What if you're on a completely different path? What if the timeline you're measuring yourself against was never designed for you? Redefining success means removing the borrowed ruler. It means asking what actually matters to me. Not what sounds impressive, not what earns approval, not what makes other people comfortable, but what makes you feel aligned. Alignment feels like peace in your body. Alignment feels like clarity, even if the road ahead isn't fully mapped out. Alignment feels like you're not pretending. And success without alignment is just performance. You can achieve everything on your vision board and still feel empty if it's built on someone else's expectations. For some of you, success might look like financial freedom and a thriving business. Beautiful. For others, success might look like being present for your kids without checking your phone every 5 minutes. Also beautiful. For some, it's healing generational patterns. For others, it's learning to rest without guilt. Success is not one size fits all. You're allowed to change your definition. You're allowed to outgrow goals. You are allowed to pivot. Evolving is not failure, it's maturity. 5 years ago, your vision of success might have been survival. And if that's where you were, surviving was success. Now, maybe success looks like stability, or softness, or impact, or expansion. The definition can change as you do. If nobody could see your life, no social media, no outside validation, what would success look like? Would you still be chasing the same things? Would you still work the same hours? Would you still prioritize the same metrics? Redefining success also requires boundaries. When you stop overextending, when you stop people-pleasing, when you stop saying yes to things that drain you. Some people might not like the new you. And that doesn't mean you're wrong. Success on your own terms will require courage. It might mean earning less money for a season to protect your mental health. It might mean taking a slower route to build something sustainable. Slow does not mean stuck. Private does not mean small. Intentional does not mean lazy. Urgency is often rooted in fear. Intention is rooted in clarity. If your definition of success costs you your health, your relationships, your peace, it's too expensive. Every season has its own metric. Comparison ignores context. You can't compare your chapter 3 to someone's chapter 20. Redefining success means honoring your season. Write down your current definition of success. Then ask yourself, does this still fit? If it doesn't, rewrite it. You're not obligated to chase what you once wanted. You're allowed to evolve. Success is not about optics. It's about fulfillment. It's about integrity. It's about lying down at night knowing you lived in alignment with your values, not someone else's checklist. Yours. And that is a different kind of wealth. Redefine it. Own it. Live it. And stop apologizing for building a life that makes sense to you. If this episode resonated, share it with someone who needs permission to rewrite their own definition of success. And as always, remember, your energy speaks before you do. Protect it. Refine it. Lead with it as the spiritual gangster you are.